Good morning, good morning, good morning. Grand rising, grand rising, grand rising. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. I'm your host, Matt Riches, and this is your show, $1 Trillion Tickers. This is your pre-market briefing for Tuesday, February 3rd. Futures are steady. Volatility is contained. And today's session is shaping up as a process day, not a reaction day. No major macro releases. We'll get to the earnings. Positioning matters more than headlines. This is where patience gets rewarded. Let's begin. You know how we like to start with our mantra. This is the $1 Trillion Tickers family legacy mantra. I deserve to be healthy. I deserve to be happy. I deserve the wealth that I'm building for me and my family. Riches and freedom, they come to our hands. I am the master of all I command. My learning is limitless. My earnings are too. The more I discover, the more I can do. The stock market is a machine of design, and I have the power to make that wealth mine. I am capable, I am skilled, I am bold. Blessings on the journey as the vision unfolds. All right, next we have our Forex Factory macro check. Let's see what we got. No orange or red folders today. So next we'll go to earnings. After yesterday's close, Palantir had earnings. So that's what I have here on the chart. As you can see, they beat very well on the top and the bottom. Earnings by 8%, revenue by almost 5%. I think they had their best quarter ever. And you can see what price did. So price, it actually closed here at 147.76. But it's going to open this morning around 164. So shout out Palantir for that, y'all. All right, next we had Teradyne. Okay, so let's see. Teradyne, they beat earnings by 30% and revenue by almost 11%. Wow, that's a great earnings. As you can see, they closed here at 249.53. It did run up in the aftermarket, but it is falling in the wait a minute. It ran up so much. It closed at 249, but in the aftermarket it ran up to 311, and then in the pre-market it ran up to 312, and now it has since pulled back, but it's still 270. So it's still $20 over, but it was way up here though. Dang. That's a crazy pullback, man. You never know what's going to happen to the market open. Okay, so we had one more close from yesterday that was important. Fabrinet. So they actually beat on the top and bottom, but they fell. As you can see, it closed here at 499.61. But even though they did beat on the top and bottom, it is currently trading at 457. All right, and then in the pre-market, we had some earnings drop. We had PayPal. PayPal just cannot get it together at all. PayPal missed on the top and bottom. They closed yesterday at 52.33, and it's currently trading at 43.74, y'all. Tough time for PayPal. They got to get it together. Next, we had PepsiCo. They small beat on the top and bottom. Closed yesterday at 155.20. It's currently trading at 157.25. And last but not least, Pfizer beat on the top and bottom. Very good beat on earnings by 16%. It beat on revenue by 4%. But it went down. It did close yesterday at 26.66. It's currently trading at 25.46, y'all. All right, so that is our earnings for today. Next, let's check out the market caps of the $1 trillion tickers, y'all. NVDA, 4.5 trillion, followed by Google, 4.1 trillion, Apple, 3.96 trillion, Microsoft, 3.14 trillion, Amazon, 2.59 trillion, Meta, 1.78 trillion, TSM, 1.77 trillion, Tesla, 1.58 trillion, AVGO, 1.56 trillion, and BRK.B, 1.05 trillion, y'all. All right, let's check out these pre-market levels. NVIDIA, we got pre-market low 186, pre-market high 187.21. Google, pre-market low 347, pre-market high 348.95. And it looks like it did hit an all-time high yesterday at 344.83. So Google will be opening at an all-time high, y'all. Salute Google. Apple, pre-market low 267.27. Pre-market high 268.91. Microsoft, pre-market low 421.23. Pre-market high 426.59. Give me 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. One second, y'all, please. All right, there we go. All right, where was I? Amazon, pre-market low 243.62. Pre-market high 245.64. TSM, pre-market low 343.05. Pre-market high 345.01. AVGO, pre-market low 332.48. Pre-market high 335.37. Meta's back in the gap, y'all. Remember, it had gapped up on earnings. It's back in the gap. Meta, pre-market low 705.14. Pre-market high 709.78. Tesla, pre-market low 424.73. Pre-market high 427.72. BRK.B, pre-market low 483.80. Pre-market high 486.06. All right. While we check on the news, I'm going to put this display up here. This is TradingView. This is 8 different charts. Top left-hand corner is NVIDIA, followed by, to the right, by Google, Apple, Microsoft. Underneath NVIDIA, we have Amazon. To the right, we have TSM, AVGO, and Meta Platforms. All right, we got a lot of news. All right, let's see. Okay, yeah, I could just leave it on the screen. All right. Oh man. So we did have a lot of. Since I did miss yesterday's show, I wasn't able to get to all that news. So I'll try to get to some. I don't think we're gonna get to them all, but anyway, this first motivation comes from Wallow267. Shout out Wallow. Shout out Philly. Motivation fades, structure stays. Build your life on what stays. All right. This next piece of news comes from Dan Ives of Wedbush Securities. SpaceX and XAI combined. Is Tesla next? In our view, there's a growing chance that Tesla will eventually be merged in some form into SpaceX/XAI over time. The view is this growing AI ecosystem will focus on space and Earth together, and Musk will look to combine the forces. Ooh, I can't wait. Because you know what that's going to do to Tesla's share price? But before we get to that, let's check out this Reuters business and see what happened.
Elon Musk's social media network X on Tuesday The Paris prosecutor's office said it had ordered the tech billionaire to face questions in April related to a widening investigation into the platform. The raid is linked to a year-long investigation into suspected abuse of algorithms and fraudulent data extraction by X or its executives. In a statement, the Paris prosecutor's office said it was now widening that investigation following complaints over the functioning of X's AI chatbot Grok. The probe will now also look into alleged complicity in the detection and diffusion of images of a child pornographic nature and the violation of a person's image rights. Musk and former CEO Linda Yaccarino are summoned to a hearing on April the 20th. Other X staff are also summoned as witnesses. There was no immediate comment from X.
So they raided Musk's one of his offices. And he gotta go. He'll be summoned along with others that work for Grok and X. And it's on April 20th. And that is hilarious because he always says something about 420. All right, next. PayPal has a new CEO. PayPal has appointed HP veteran Enrique Lores as president and CEO effective March 1st. I guess, remember, we just went over their earnings and they missed terribly. So I guess the previous CEO, they was like, man, this your last hoorah. If you don't do good on these earnings, you will be replaced. And he did terrible on those earnings, and he's been replaced, y'all. So new CEO for PayPal coming on March 1st. All right, market is about to open, y'all. Market open, market open, market open. Let's get it, y'all. Market is open. February 3rd, 2026. The market is open. Happy Black History Month. Let's get into these prices, y'all. Let me put it on a 1 minute chart so you can see the movement. NVDA is barely over break even at 185.66. Google did hit that all-time high, y'all. It opened at, it's currently trading at 348.20. The high was 348.83. Apple barely under break even at 269.76. Microsoft is still falling, y'all. Microsoft is still in the gap. Dang, look at Microsoft, y'all. Let me give you a wider lens on what Microsoft is doing. Look, Microsoft is in this gap, y'all. Remember, it gapped down on earnings. Now it's in this gap. So you got one of the $1 trillion tickets is on crazy discount right now, y'all. Just want to show you that. All right, let's get back to it. Amazon is up 1.25% at 245.76. TSM is up almost 1.5% at 346. AVGO is up over 2% at 337.90. Meta is up almost 0.25% at 707.82. Meta is also in the gap. Let me give you a wider lens on that. Remember, it gapped up here on earnings. It has fallen back into the gap, y'all. It's probably going to bounce on this 695.20 before heading back to the upside. But it could gladly bounce back up before going down. I don't want it to go all the way to the middle of the gap. Next, Tesla. Tesla is barely under break even at 421.13. I wonder if it's off that summons that Elon got about Grok and the child pornography creations that people have been making with his product. As you can see, that's not really his fault that people are using his product like that, but take them all to jail. If you creating stuff like that, take them to jail. Next, BRK.B down almost 1% at 482.50. All right, let's check out some more news. While we do that, we'll go back to our 8 chart display, y'all. These are 10-minute candles. The brown part is the pre-market, and the dark blue part is the market open. And if there's some turquoise background, that means it's in the gap, y'all. All right, next piece of news comes from PepsiCo. Check, I thought this was interesting. We just went over their earnings, but it says PepsiCo is looking to cut prices by as much as 15% on products including Lay's potato chips and Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Pepsi is making cuts after receiving a flood of emails and voice messages from shoppers complaining that high prices were making it hard to buy the company's snacks. Y'all, what? Are you serious? Are you serious? That's all we gotta do? All we gotta do is send emails and leave voicemails and complain about high prices, and they gonna bring the prices down? Because I know a lot of other stuff that can we need to take that same route. But it worked for Lay's potato chips and Flamin' Hot Cheetos, y'all. So shout out to that. I thought that was pretty funny. All right, next. This is a clip from Dan Ives on CNBC. Check it out.
I think earnings season last week, if you saw Microsoft, I think it's this balance between CapEx and monetization. Any sort of issue right there, investors are going to kind of take a step back. And I think that's something that you're almost fighting sort of a headwind there in terms of as they're going after from a CapEx perspective. To me, the biggest worry is energy in terms of just the shortage in the U.S. That's something, you have more data centers on the construction today than active data centers. And then, of course, U.S.-China. I mean, any sensitivity to some sort of tariff, just like I saw when I was in Davos, and that you combine all together. The question is not about the use cases, the fourth industrial revolution, the spending. It's about some of these other issues as well as the financing that are going to be clearly a spotlight on in terms of a market like this. I think earnings season last week, if you saw Microsoft, I think it's this balance between CapEx and monetization. Any sort of issue right there, investors are going to kind of take a step back. And I think that's something that you're almost fighting sort of a headwind there in terms of as they're going after from a CapEx perspective.
All right. So he's talking about how Microsoft been getting clapped lately, y'all. It's way down, way down. All right. Next, this from West Squad Chris. You got to get comfortable with having money and not needing to spend it. You shouldn't feel the urge to rush outside and spend money just because you got some paper, y'all. Shout out West Squad Chris. That's real game right there. I thought this was pretty cool. La Russell, independent artist from Vallejo, one of the biggest independent artists in the world. Real deal independent, too. Not that I'm talking about 100% independent innovator in the independent game from the Bay Area. Shout out to the Bay Area, y'all. Well, he had Gary V bought his album for $18,000, y'all. He bought his album for $18,000. I gotta run it up for that. So before Gary V bought his album for $18,000, Kyrie Irving bought the same album for $11,000, y'all. So La Russell is actually doing he's running this play where he's trying to sell 100,000 records in 30 days. Now, he didn't reach the 100,000 in 30 days, but the campaign is continuing. We'll see. He actually sold about 21,000 records, he said. So we'll see how long it takes for him to get it. Maybe in Black History Month, Black people will get together and help La Russell reach 100,000 records sold. I did buy my record. And I hope he gets there, man, because he's really a positive brother doing good things for the Bay Area and for the independent artists. Salute to Russell, y'all. All right, next piece of news comes from Sam Altman. He said, I am very excited about AI. But to go off script for a minute, I built an app with Codex last week. It was very fun. Then I started asking it for ideas for new features, and at least a couple of them were better than what I was thinking of. I felt a little useless and sad. End quote. So Altman, he's coming out with this thing that can be used with ChatGPT called Codex. So he was using it. It went great, and it gave some better ideas than he thought of. So I guess he wants everybody to go try it out. That's why he said that, yo. Let's try it out later. Next, this is from Bar Chart. It says, breaking news. The United Nations could run out of money by July, warns the Secretary General, Antonio Gutierrez. He says the organization faces an imminent financial collapse by July 2026, driven by $3.2 billion in unpaid member dues, with the U.S. owing $2.1 billion. Wow. The alert references a recent letter to 193 member states, corroborated by reports from BBC, Reuters, and CNN, emphasizing outdated payment rules and risks to 2026 budget execution. This development signals escalating U.S.-UN tensions under the Trump administration, potentially disrupting global peacekeeping and humanitarian operations amid broader geopolitical funding strains. Wow, that's interesting. So the majority of that's owed to them is owed by the United States. And Trump already said last week that they don't really be doing nothing in the UN anyway. Like, U.S. is the big dog in there. So I don't think Trump gonna pay it. I'm wondering, is the UN gonna run out of money? Because I don't see Trump paying this. I don't see it. Or he might use it as leverage for them to, you know what I mean, bow down when it comes to Greenland or something. I don't know. But wow, I thought that was very interesting. Shout out to the UN. Next, Sam Altman, again, he said, we love working with NVIDIA, and they make the best AI chips in the world. We hope to have a gigantic customer. We hope to be a gigantic customer for a very long time. I don't get where all this insanity is coming from. So that was his reply, because he had said something before. I have it in here. I don't have it. I have that piece of content from Altman where he had to come out and say this because he said some lightweight greasy about NVIDIA. So he had to come out and say this to save face. So, all right, Altman. All right, we see you. All right, let's check out some of our other tickers we like to look at on this show, $1 trillion tickers. Shout out everybody on YouTube Live and Facebook Live. All right, SPX barely over break even at 6,981. SPY barely over break even at 696. The NAS 100 is down 0.25% at 25,686. QQQ is down fractionally at 625. The Dow Jones is up 0.5% at 49,624. The Dow Jones ETF just hit all-time highs, y'all. Shout out to Dow Jones ETF. It's trading at 496.42. It's also up 0.5%. The VIX is up fractionally at 1637. The 10-year Treasury note It's up just 1 penny at 4.29. Gold is back under 5,000 an ounce, y'all. Gold is now trading at 4,920 per ounce. It's up today though, because remember it had dropped drastically. It's up today 5.5%. All right. The gold minis, it did drop. Let me see how far it dropped last time. See, it had dropped all the way to 91.06, but it is now at 97.26. So it gapped up. Let's see if it stays there. I don't know. Oh, we got a gap. And then let's check out gold too. So gold, remember it hit the all-time high of 5,598. It had pulled back all the way to 4,408, y'all. That is a hell of a collapse. Man, oh man. That's over $1,000 drop. And that was in 2 days. So if you chased this and you missed it, oh, you heavy in the red. Heavy. Same thing for silver, y'all. Silver had hit a high of 109.83. And then in 2 days, it pulled back to 67.42. Oh my God. That is crazy. If you chase silver, you got clapped. Heavy. Copper, same thing. This thing maxed out at $99.99. End up pulling back to 82.46. Not as bad as silver, but still a major pullback. And today gapped up. Today's at 89.27. Bitcoin. So this is not a gap here, y'all. This is consolidation. So I drew this white box to show you the consolidation that Bitcoin has been in since November. And then it finally broke out of the consolidation with high volume on Saturday to the downside. And then it fell all the way to 74,500, y'all. And now it's slightly recovering. It's now at 77,650. All right, so that broke down crazy. IBIT, you see these 3 gaps on the way down. It's been a crazy sell-off for IBIT since since January 14th. It's been a crazy drop, y'all. We're currently trading at 44.07. Ethereum been getting clapped too, y'all. Ethereum, remember it was around 3,000, y'all? That was just recently. That wasn't too long ago. This thing was at 3,000. Let me see the last time Ethereum was at 3,000. Right here. January 20th. Right now it's February 3rd and this thing is at 22,085, y'all. Damn. Are you serious? Ethereum getting clapped out here. So, if Ethereum getting clapped, it's down 2.5% right now. If Ethereum getting clapped, then BMNR getting clapped too. Tom Lee is down crazy, y'all. Oh my God, Tom Lee. Tom Lee is down. I read an article saying Tom Lee was down $6 billion on a BMNR. He's down $6 billion, y'all. He was buying it. He was buying Ethereum way too high, and now it's pulled back. A lot of people were saying that the crypto winter, the 4-year crypto cycle, is no longer, but I think it's back. I think people spoke too soon when they said the 4-year crypto cycle is no longer, because this thing is pulling back right now, y'all. Tom Lee, hold your head, man. Just buy some more. I don't know where you're going to get more money. Because people, when they hear that stat, you down $6 billion. Yeah, they not investing with you no more. Hold your head though, man. We don't know how low it's gonna go. We might bounce back. AMD is up 0.25% at 247.22. Palantir had ran up crazy, y'all. Remember we talked about that earlier. Yesterday they closed at 147, gapped up in the aftermarket, was holding strong in the pre-market, but it's pulling back. It did open up here at 165, but it's currently at 157. I did hear Ian on Market Mondays yesterday say that he expects Palantir to pull down to 137 before taking off to the upside. So put that on the watch list, and let's get into Palantir when it goes under 140, y'all. I don't know when that's gonna be, but if he's right with those superb earnings, I think they said they're 70% of their profits they get to keep, or what was the exact quote? I forget the exact quote. I do have it on my Twitter timeline. I'll get to it later, but the numbers they did was crazy. This was their best quarter in history of the company, and yeah, I don't know why it's pulling back right now. And next, Robinhood. Robinhood is trading. It is down almost 1.5% at 88.65. I did buy some Robinhood shares yesterday, y'all. This is my first entry into Robinhood. I did buy some Robinhood shares, y'all. I do believe in the company. I love the platform. I like the CEO. He's very innovative, and I do expect a big future out of Robinhood as a stock and as a company. So, yeah, it is highly correlated with Bitcoin. So as long as Bitcoin is getting clapped, Robinhood is going to feel the pressure. But I do believe in the company, and they do have earnings. Let me see when they got earnings. Pretty soon. Let's see. They got earnings next week. Next Tuesday. 1 week away. And we got Robinhood earnings. So I'm expecting some good earnings. It did gap down from Friday to Monday because that's when Bitcoin had broke that consolidation that we talked about earlier. It had broke to the downside with a lot of volume. Yeah, that's that same day. So it is very correlated with Bitcoin. But I think these earnings are going to be stellar. And I'm definitely going to be looking forward to that. All right, next, let's check out the sectors, y'all. Let's see where money is flowing into and money is flowing out of. Actually, before we get to the sectors, let's read some more news. All right, this is from Unusual Whales. Trump has announced the creation of a U.S. critical mineral reserve. Trump is tired of China being a leader when it comes to minerals, and he has created the U.S. Critical Mineral Reserve, y'all. It's a $12 billion reserve modeled after the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to stockpile resources like lithium, rare earths, and cobalt for national security and supply chain resilience. China is dominating in that space, and Trump is not trying to be reliant on China. Next, Vanguard is cutting fees on a quarter of its U.S. funds, bringing the average expense ratio across all funds to 0.06% per the Wall Street Journal, y'all. Shout out to Vanguard for cutting the fees, y'all. Shout out to Vanguard. All right. It is Black History Month, so I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit of this. Comedian Red Fox and Malcolm X were best friends and worked together as dishwashers at the same restaurant in Harlem in the 1940s. The staff called Malcolm Detroit Red and Fox Chicago Red. Before history froze them together into separate legends, Red Fox and Malcolm X were just two young black men trying to survive in Harlem in the 1940s. They were hustling side by side as dishwashers at the same Harlem restaurant, scraping by in a city that offered talent but very few chances. Among the kitchen staff, they earned those nicknames. Malcolm was Detroit Red, sharp, fiery, and already intense in thought and presence. Red Fox was Chicago Red, quick-witted, loud, and endlessly funny, even while elbow deep in dirty plates. What makes this story powerful isn't just where they ended up, but where they started. One would grow to be a revolutionary voice that challenged America's conscience. The other would become a comedy icon, using laughter to expose the same truths from a different angle. Different paths, same roots, same grind. Long before microphones, speeches, or television fame, they were brothers in the struggle, laughing, debating, surviving, proving that greatness often begins behind the scenes, unseen and uncelebrated. History rarely tells us how close legends once stood to each other, but sometimes the most extraordinary futures are born in the most ordinary places, like a Harlem kitchen sink, y'all. Shout out to them brothers, legends. Malcolm X and Red Fox, y'all. All right, next, the Kobayashi letter. President Trump is launching. Oh yeah, I already said that one. Next, okay, this chart was from TrendSpider. It said the 2022 bear market fell on Bitcoin. It fell approximately 75% peak to trough. If that repeats for Bitcoin, then the bottom is going to be around 30,000. Ooh. But that was before we had all this institutional money going into Bitcoin. So I don't think that's actually going to happen right now. There's too many Bitcoin ETFs. There's too many billions of dollars. I don't think it's going to happen right now. All right. Next, it's from Unusual Wells. Costco is building apartments in Los Angeles, y'all. I was reading about this before. I think they're going to have the apartments on top of the Costco building. That would be so dope. Well, not as far as parking, but I think that would be dope as far as you got a grocery store right underneath your apartments. Not a liquor store. Not you want to walk to the liquor store and go buy some poison, but you actually got Costco, a grocery store with some healthy stuff in there that you can go buy, and they got all that pre-made stuff too. Yeah, that would be dope. That would be dope. It would just be hard to find parking because at least while the store is open, it'll be hard to find parking. But yeah, that's dope. Shout out Costco for that, yo. All right. Next, let's check out the sectors. So today, look at XLK, y'all. XLK is down heavy, y'all. Oh no, hold on. What is this? Consolidation? Oh, okay, same thing. Look, so XLK has been consolidating here since late December. Just been consolidating in this range. It did break out briefly for a couple days, but it's back in. It came right back into this area, and now it has dropped. It has broke underneath the consolidation area, y'all. So I do have a support level here at 141.90, but yeah, it's breaking down right now. It is actually the worst sector of the day, down over 1.5%. XLK is currently trading at 142.86, y'all. All right, next. XLY, this is our consumer discretionary ETF. It's barely over break even at 122.09. Next is XLC. It's down over 0.5% at 119. XLF is up. It did briefly go into the gap, but it has since came out of the gap. It is up barely over break even at 54.08. XLV is up almost 1% at 157. That's healthcare. XLP looks like XLP consumer staples hit an all-time high today, y'all, at 85.36. Shout out XLP for hitting an all-time high. It's up almost 1%. XLE is up over 1.25% at 50.71. XLU is up almost 1.5% at 43.20. That's utilities. XLI, which is industrials, the industrials ETF, looks like hit all-time highs today as well, y'all. 169.02. Shout out XLI. Currently trading at 168.32. XLB, this is the materials sector. Looks like materials hit all-time highs today too. It's a lot of all-time highs on the sectors, y'all. The market is strong. You can't tell me the market is not strong if we got 3 different sectors hitting all-time highs, y'all. We got 3 different sectors hitting all-time highs. All right. And XLB is currently trading at $50.55. And our last sector is XLRE. This is the real estate sector. It's barely over break even at $40.98. So out of our sectors, the worst sector so far today is XLK. It's down almost 2%. And the best sector so far is materials. It's up almost 2%. All right, let me run these numbers of these $1 trillion tickers. Let's see where we at right now. NVIDIA, part of the reason why technology is down almost 2%. NVIDIA is down over 2%, y'all. It's 2.25% now. That thing is dropping. Oh, it's at our trend line too. Hold on. Let me look at this on the daily. Ooh, you see that, y'all? We have our diagonal trend line. We need some support right here on NVIDIA, y'all. If it break under this diagonal trend line, it's going under 180. It's going I got to go into 178.10 if it doesn't hold this. If it don't hold this trend line. And then after that, I got to go into 175, y'all. We need NVIDIA to be strong. Y'all. All right, next. Google hit an all-time high today, y'all. Google hit an all-time high of 349. Shout out Google. Google hit an all-time high today. All right, next is Google is currently trading at 342.64. Apple, we're going to keep it on the daily chart so we can see the bigger picture since we did the 1 minute chart at market open. And we'll just see where we at. All right, so Apple looking strong right now. I mean, on the day, it's at break even at 270. But looking at this chart, yesterday it broke out of our resistance level, our diagonal resistance level here. Apple broke out of it. It's looking like it might come retest it. It might come retest 266.20. And yeah, it can also retest this diagonal trend line before heading back to the upside. But Apple looking very strong. It's been very strong since Tuesday, January 20th. Apple been looking nice, y'all. It's up. It's up over 10%. You know what I mean? In the past 2 weeks. So shout out Apple. Apple looking strong. They did have earnings last week too. They beat on the top and bottom. All right, let's check out Microsoft. Microsoft is struggling, y'all. Microsoft is still struggling, y'all. I mean, it's only temporary, but Microsoft is still it's still the fourth most valuable company in the world. But this is a temporary struggle based on this sell-off here after earnings. It is continuing to fall, y'all. It does have a big gap that it's in right now. I do expect this. I do expect it to bounce at this gap level here, which is 411. Most of the time when it comes to these gaps, it doesn't break the whole thing immediately, especially when there are big gaps like this. So most likely it's going to come down here and bounce before trying for more upside. If it gets sold off again, then it may come fill the gap. But I don't expect it to fill this gap just in one try. As you can see, when it first came into the gap, it bounced up. It didn't even go halfway. But it looks like it's headed toward the halfway. All right, next, Amazon. Amazon is down 1% on the day. As you can see, Amazon rejected our daily resistance trend line here, y'all. As you can see, we started at the all-time high. Once it came up here on January 9th, it rejected hard. It rejected hella hard. Came all the way down here, $20 drop. Then it fought its way back up, rejected again. Came right back up to this diagonal trend line, rejected hard. So we'll see if we can get some stability over here. If not, I see it heading back down to our 234.40 support level right here, y'all. We'll see though. That's what Amazon. Oh, Amazon got earnings on Thursday, y'all. So look out for earnings on Thursday for Amazon. That hopefully, if Amazon has good earnings, it will send this price over our resistance level here, and we can continue bullish and head back toward all-time highs, y'all. TSM next. TSM is down 1.25% at 337.14. It's very close to all-time highs. It did reject pretty tough here, but it's still close to all-time highs. I wouldn't get into a trade. I like this resistance level here. I mean, I like the support at 327.10. But yeah, TSM is very strong right now. AVGO. AVGO is in the gap, y'all. As you can see, it's a big gap here on AVGO. I do have a diagonal trend line here, which is very close to this midway point of the gap. So it might, it looks like it bounced on here previously. On January 22nd, it gapped down underneath the midway point and then came back up, but now it's back in the gap. It did bounce on the midpoint here on Thursday. It looks like it's headed back there, y'all. It's down almost 3%. AVGO down almost 3%. Next, Meta. Meta is down 0.5% at 702. Come on, Meta. Be strong. We need you to bounce back. I need Meta to bounce back out this gap and head to the upside, y'all. I do not want Meta to fill this gap. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Tesla's down fractionally at 421.22. As you can see, Tesla's been falling ever since it hit that all-time high of almost 500. But we are coming into the corner here. This is our diagonal support level, our diagonal support trend line. And here's our diagonal support resistance line. Will it break down or will it break out? I don't know. We'll see. We getting there. We're going to know over the next few days, though. And BRK.B is up over 0.25% at 489, y'all. All right. Let's check out. Let me move some of these. Yeah, all our $1 trillion tickets is looking red today, y'all. They all looking red today. Except Berkshire. Well, Google hit all-time highs, though. But after that, everything trending down. Let's see. Let's get some more news. Unusual Whales. An Abu Dhabi royal backed a secret $500 million investment in Trump's crypto company World Financial. This was 4 days before the inauguration. Months later, the United Arab Emirates won access to tightly guarded American AI chips. Hold on, let me take a drink on that. So you know what that means, y'all. Trump said, drop that bag. Trump said, drop that bag. It's going to cost you $500 million. Trump said, drop that bag and I got you. They dropped that bag, y'all. And now they about to get them NVIDIA chips. Shout out to Abu Dhabi, man. They say, man, we got to get in this AI game because it's the future. We can't get left behind. I feel you. I feel you. All right, next. This comes from Forbes. It says the Holy Grail sleep apnea pill could be on the market next year. The disease affects as many as 80 million in the United States alone. Now, Append, the $400 million company behind the first ever pill to treat it, is preparing to file for FDA approval, y'all. If you got sleep apnea, you might be having a cure or a treatment. Let me not say cure. You know you can't say cure no more. You might be having a treatment next year, y'all. All right, next. This is from Benjamin Crump on Twitter. Black women are dying because doctors don't believe them. Christina Brown had to grab a doctor's hands to make them feel her breast lump. Serena Williams nearly died after childbirth. Dr. Janelle Green didn't survive hers. The burden shouldn't be on black women to become hyper-vigilant medical experts. The responsibility is on the healthcare systems, medical training, and providers to listen, believe, and act. Black women's pain is real. Black women's lives matter. You know, them doctors don't care about us, man. As black people, but as black women specifically, they don't care. They not listening. Man, that's why we gotta learn on our own, man. We gotta build our own hospitals because they don't care, y'all. They don't care. We gotta get that bag so we can build our own hospitals. And we gotta learn on our own. What other choice do we have? Next. All right. Some big events has happening this week. We were gonna have December JOLTS data, but they said it's not coming out because of the partial Government shutdown. Next, Google has earnings on Wednesday, y'all. Google has earnings on Wednesday. I'm expecting blowout earnings, phenomenal earnings. I'm expecting all-time highs after market open. We got unemployment numbers on Thursday. And we got Amazon. We got Amazon earnings this week as well. All right, next. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. So this is Dissent talking about the Trump accounts and what it could do for the future of American kids.
The compound growth from Treasury's initial seed funding alone stands to make young Americans wealthy. Assuming historical growth rates continue, a single $1,000 deposit into a Trump account at birth should grow to an estimated amount of at least $500,000 by the age of retirement. The $1,000 seed from Treasury is exclusive to newborns, but keep in mind that any American below the age of 18 is also eligible to receive a tax-advantaged Trump account to begin saving for the future. Philanthropists, family, friends, employers, and states can backfill.
What? Anybody under 18 is eligible for some of the benefits. You might not get the rack, but you get some benefits. Gotta look that up, y'all. You got kids under 18, you gotta look that up. Tax advantages. Let's get it. What do you say? The kids that get the 1,000, by the time they retire, they're gonna have $500,000. You're probably gonna have more than that, because if your parents is checking the account and they see it growing, they're gonna put some more bread in there, more than that 1,000. That's crazy though, because if we can get all these $1 trillion companies, these $1 trillion tickers, and also some more companies that are worth, you know what I mean, almost $1 trillion. How about every company that is over $500 billion gotta drop $1,000 into the Trump accounts, y'all? How about that? And let's make all the kids millionaires by the time they retire. How about that? Why not? We need it. We need it in America, y'all. All right. Some of the worst performing large cap stocks from January: Figma, AppLovin, Rivian, Intuit, ServiceNow. They're all between 30% to the downside and 23% to the downside in 1 month, y'all. Ooh, that's terrible. All right, next. This is from the Kobayashi letter. U.S. demographic outlook is deteriorating. Starting in 2030, annual deaths are projected to exceed births for the first time in U.S. history. After that point, the gap between deaths and births is expected to widen every year through 2056. This means beginning in 2030, net immigration will be the only source of U.S. population growth. Meanwhile, the overall population growth rate is projected to slow from 0.3% annually over the next decade to just 0.1% starting in 2040. The U.S. population is expected to stop growing entirely in 2056, reaching 364 million people. This is 8 million fewer than the CBO projected last January, marking a significant downward revision. Wow. And you know, Trump is not allowing immigration right now. So how we gonna get these numbers up, y'all? We gotta have more kids. Gotta have more kids. Well, how about some well, they did say the kids get $1,000. So that's a little motivation to have a kid right now. You can't get a rack from the government. Put that thing in there and let that thing run up, you know what I mean? All right, next. I thought this was insightful. It says, this is from African and Black History on Twitter. It says, studying history will sometimes disturb you. Studying history will sometimes upset you. Studying history will sometimes make you furious. If studying history always make you feel proud and happy, you probably aren't studying history. Hashtag Black History Month. I agree 100%. All right, next. Oh, this is interesting. So this is from Michael Saylor. Let me pull up MicroStrategies while we quote Michael Saylor. So MicroStrategies looking terrible. This is one of the worst charts we've seen in a while. They actually have earnings on Thursday, so we'll see what happens with MicroStrategy. I think the earnings are going to be terrible. I wonder if we should do some puts on MicroStrategy. So MicroStrategy hit an all-time high November 2024, y'all. That's the last time MicroStrategy hit an all-time high of 543. The most recent high was July of 2025 at 463. Let's see how much it fell since then. Goodness gracious. It's down over 70%, y'all. It's down over 70% since July 2025. It's down to $136. Michael Saylor, what are you doing? What are you doing with this company? What are you doing with this people money, y'all? What is he doing? This chart looks so terrible. Let me see if we can get some levels on here. This chart looks so terrible. Let's see what we can find. We got a weekly level here at 114. 114.30, we got a weekly level. So let's see if it bounces there. We also got some support here at 128. $128.20. All right. So we got a couple levels on here. I bet we could short this thing. We can short this thing to 128, and then if it break that, we can short this thing to 114.30. I'm guessing that's where it's gonna go. Once they miss on earnings. Let me put some more levels down here just in case it miss. It's probably gonna miss because Bitcoin is so low. I know they ain't making no bread. They heavy in the red. Heavy. Guarantee you cannot be. If you're a Bitcoin treasury and Bitcoin is getting clapped, that means your investments is getting clapped too. Let's check it out, y'all. Let's check it out. Ooh, don't let this thing go to 77. What's this? Was this in the S&P? He's about to get kicked out the S&P falling like this, y'all. This is terrible. This is terrible. All right, this is terrible. But anyway, MicroStrategy. Michael Saylor said a few days ago, he said, sell a kidney if you must, but keep the Bitcoin, y'all. He said, sell a kidney if you must, but keep the Bitcoin, y'all. Damn, that's what we saying? That's what we saying, Mike? That's what we saying? I don't know. We can't do that. We can't do that, Mike. We can't do it. We can't do it. All right, next. OnlyFans is reportedly in talks to sell about 60% of the company for $3.5 billion to Architect Capital in a deal that values the company at $5.5 billion. Man, this is so crazy, y'all. This is so crazy. This is why if you come up with an idea, you don't have to be the one to actually be the person that is on it. All you got to do is own the platform. Come up with the idea, own the platform, and let the users do it. Just like YouTube. They don't make no videos at YouTube. All they do is create the platform and let us create the content. So the dude that created OnlyFans, he don't got no OnlyFans. He just created the platform, and he's about to sell this for $3.5 billion for 60% of the capital. Talk about paper. Damn. Salute to dude, man. All right. This next piece of news comes from Yahoo Finance. Oh, we've been on this thing for a while, y'all. It's about time to cut this thing off. But, we had to catch up on some of that news because we missed the news yesterday. I missed the show yesterday because of technical difficulties. So, I was trying to run through some of this news. But, yeah, that's about it for today, y'all. Let me just let me hit you with some Instagram motivation and we'll be out of here. Check it out.
Every morning, everyone should speak these 5 affirmations. All right? I am the best. I can do it alone. God is always with me. I am a winner. Today is my day. Every morning, everyone should speak these 5 affirmations. All right? I am the best. I can do it alone. God is always with me. I am a winner. Today is my day.
Shout out Bruce Lee.
This is the time to turn up. I don't think this is the time to get comfortable, to feel like I seen somebody say something real the other day. It was like, just because you caught the touchdown don't mean you won the game. You know what I mean? So we gotta execute. This
we gotta keep going, y'all. Yeah, we caught a touchdown, but we gotta keep going. All right, let's end it. You know how we like to end the show. Thank y'all for tuning in. $1 Trillion Tickers. I'm your host, Matt Riches.
It don't happen overnight, and there's gonna be moments when it's really, really frustrating, and there's gonna be moments when it's really, really inspiring and empowering. And if you get too high off the highs and too low off the lows, you're gonna take yourself on a ride that's very uncomfortable. I think it's just about being committed to the work, appreciating it, when it's good, and not stressing too bad when it's bad. Just appreciating the work and staying focused on showing up every day.
And that's what we're gonna do, y'all. We're gonna show up every day if we don't have technical difficulties like we did yesterday. But shit, I showed up every day in January. I streamed every single day in January, y'all. And even before that, the only day I took off was Christmas. I was going heavy in December. We putting that work in. $1 Trillion Tickers. We putting that work in, y'all. I'm your host, Matt Riches. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow morning in the pre-market. We got a lot more news. We got a lot of earnings. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, y'all. Let's get to it. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial